This was one of the creepiest experiences of my life. My family and I were staying in an A-frame cabin by a lake in northern Washington. Nestled amidst the dense forest, the cabin was a tranquil sanctuary, a serene retreat from the hustle and bustle of city life. The air was crisp, the silence only broken by the gentle lapping of lake water against the shore. As the day wore on, my family decided to venture out to a nearby convenience store, leaving me alone in the rustic dwelling. The sun began to set, bathing the cabin in a warm golden glow that I admired through the generously sized windows. But as the radiant day gave way to the inky night, the atmosphere morphed. With no curtains to shield me from the encroaching darkness, I felt a sense of oppression creeping in. The forest, once a picturesque backdrop, now seemed to harbor an eerie presence. The trees whispered untold secrets, and the legends of Bigfoot that once seemed laughable now played on my mind. As I navigated through the cabin, a sudden movement near the boat dock caught my attention. A fleeting shadow on a winding path down to the water. I dismissed it as a nocturnal creature, a part of the wilderness that surrounded us. Venturing into the bathroom, a wave of unease washed over me. The silence of the cabin was deafening. Each creaking floorboard, every gust of wind amplifying my growing anxiety. As I exited, I felt a disconcerting sensation of being watched. A glance down the hallway confirmed my worst fears. There, framed by the glass door, stood a deer. But this was no ordinary sighting. This deer was upright, standing on two legs, its eyes fixed on me. Frozen in fear, my mind raced with stories of skinwalkers and other supernatural creatures. I retreated to the bathroom, locking myself in, praying for the return of my family. When they finally arrived, the night was silent once more, with no trace of the eerie deer. Whether real or imagined, it was a terrifying experience. Years passed, and I found myself drawn back to the cabin by the lake. Time had a way of dulling the razor edges of fear, turning vivid nightmares into hazy memories. The cabin had undergone a metamorphosis, its once familiar facade now hidden beneath a fresh coat of paint. It was a stark contrast to the haunting images etched into my mind, a tangible token of change. Yet as I stepped over the threshold, a shiver of recognition ran down my spine, a spectral echo of the past I thought I'd left behind. The tranquility of the lake called to me once more, its serene surface a stark contrast to the tumultuous sea of my thoughts. Daylight was a comforting companion, but as the sun began its descent, the familiar tendrils of dread began to weave their way around my heart. Nightfall had always been a time of quiet reflection, but the cabin brought with it an oppressive silence, a shroud of darkness that seemed to whisper secrets long forgotten. I tried to drown out the whispers of my own mind, busying myself with mundane tasks, cleaning dishes, organizing books, anything to keep the creeping sense of unease at bay. Yet the image of the deer standing eerily on two legs haunted me like a specter in the night. Was it a trick of the light? A figment of my overactive imagination? Or was there something more sinister lurking in the shadows? The walls of the cabin seemed to close in around me, the weight of my past pressing down with relentless force. The darkness outside was no longer just an absence of light, it was a living entity, suffocating and relentless. Unable to shake the feeling of dread, I retreated to the safety of my room, locking the door behind me. The echo of the lock sliding into place was a stark reminder of my isolation, and though I was physically alone, I couldn't escape the feeling that unseen eyes were watching, waiting. The cabin, once a sanctuary, had become a prison, and I was a prisoner of my own fear. Hours passed in agonizing silence, each creak of the floorboard sending shivers down my spine. Then, like a ghostly whisper, a faint scratching echoed through the cabin. My heart pounded like a war drum in my chest as I tiptoed towards the window. There, bathed in the silvery glow of the moon, stood the deer. Its eyes shone with a malevolent intelligence that froze me to my core. A wave of terror washed over me as memories flooded back. The deer was real, and it was back. I fumbled for my phone, my hands shaking uncontrollably, but as I dialed for help, a voice slithered out from the darkness, a voice that made my blood run cold. "You cannot escape," it hissed like the wind through the trees, a chill creeping down my spine. The final words hit me like a sledgehammer. "You belong to us now."